Confidence is something that a lot of musicians struggle with, not just drummers, but a lot of drummers definitely struggle with this. And I know this not just because I'm a musician myself, but we have hundreds of drummers that we work with currently in our Shed Camp club. And I speak to and have spoken to at least 2,000 plus drummers face-to-face on Zoom for an hour over the last 2 years, asking them questions about their drumming and talking to them specifically about their issues. And so many of them tell me how they don't have the confidence when it comes to playing drum fills, chops, and solos. But don't worry, by the end of this video, you will know how to build your confidence on this instrument. I play multiple instruments, believe it or not, and I didn't feel confident on any of the instruments that I played. And we would go out and play out places, whether it was playing at a church in another city or playing a concert or playing a gig, and I would always be self-conscious about my playing. I was always worried about what other people thought about what I was playing. And this produced a lot of stage fright and a lot of anxiety and just a bunch of unnecessary angst. But one day I came to the realization of what was actually causing this. And the main reason that drummers don't feel confident on the instrument is because they have attached their self-worth to their ability to play the instrument. So typically musicians, we're on an emotional roller coaster, and this is how it works. When you have a good show or you play well, you feel really great about yourself. If you play bad, you feel bad about yourself. You take your playing and how you performed most recent as an indication of your value. So if you performed well, that means you have high self-worth. And if you perform bad, you have low self-worth and you hate yourself. But this is all because your self-worth, how you feel about you as a human being, is attached to you being a musician and how well you play. The key to being able to break free of anxiety is to separate these two things. Because once you do this, you'll be able to look at your skills objectively, tell yourself the truth about where you are, and actually begin to do something about it. But the difference here will be that you won't hate yourself while you're in the process. Confidence is a feeling of certainty about the truth of something. So if you're not like really good on the drums, or if you know that you can't play advanced level chops, solos, that type of thing, then you shouldn't feel confident about it, because it's not true. You can't do those things right now, or you can't do them at the level that you want. This means it makes sense for you to not feel confident about those things. However, that doesn't mean you don't have anything to feel confident about at all. What you want to do is you want to take something that you can feel confident about, like the fact that you were a beginner on the drums before and you have improved and you've gotten better to the point that you are right now. Or maybe you are a beginner right now and you didn't even know how to play the drums before, but now you've improved up to the point where you can play basic grooves or basic drum fills. So you should have something that you can lean on and say, hey, I know that I can be confident in the fact that I can improve. And when you're confident about the fact that you can improve, this is why you can actually look at what your shortcomings are, objectively see them, address them, tell yourself the truth about them, but not hate yourself in the process. Because your self-worth is no longer attached to how you're playing or your ability to play. You are now focused on the fact that you know that you can improve as long as you're willing to do the work, as long as you're willing to put in the effort, as long as you're willing to get the right guidance, as long as you're willing to commit to the outcome, you can get the improvement that you're looking for. And so this type of belief will lead you to taking action in the direction of actually building the skills that will help you to be confident. Now, don't get me wrong. You will have to go through the process of practicing. You will have to go through the process of being clear on what you need to work on. You will have to go through the process of actually putting in the work. And the reason that most of us fall short in this area is because it's so unpleasant going through the practice phase, going through the putting of the work. And the reason why that's unpleasant is because you have attached your self-worth to the process and you feel like you should be better than you are right now. And it causes you to have a lot of emotional and mental anguish, and it makes it hard for you to continue because you hate yourself through the process. But when you're able to completely separate your self-worth from the process and separate it from where your skill level is on the drums, you'll be able to work on the skill without hating yourself in the process. You'll actually have a lot more patience for yourself. You're more likely to stick with it. And then when you do that, when you finally have that consistency, then you'll start to see results. Those results will yield what? More confidence in your playing, because you'll see yourself getting better. And the better you get, the more sure you are about your playing. And it becomes a loop, like, oh, I have even more confidence about the fact that I can improve. And then I go and do it and I improve. Now I have even more confidence about the fact that I can improve. And so I go and I do it and then I improve. And what's happening as a back end result is you're actually becoming a more confident drummer when you sit down at the set, because you're doing the work that helps you get better. And when you get better, you are more confident. So I know I'm saying a lot of words, but the point that I'm trying to get you to understand is you will feel confident about your playing when you are good. And you will only get good when you put in the work. But you will only have the bandwidth to put in the work and the patience to put in the work if you don't hate yourself in the process. And you only won't hate yourself through the process if you detach your self-worth from your skill level. And so once you do all of these things, and you start with the base of like detaching your self-worth from your ability to play the instrument, instrument, you will then be able to look at what you're doing objectively. You will have the humility to get the help you need, to understand what area of your playing is not where it needs to be and what you need to do specifically to get to the next level. You'll have the humility to look at that, and you'll be able to see it without judging your self-worth, because that's completely detached. And then you can objectively work on these things, and you won't hate yourself through the process. You'll have more patience with yourself through the process, which means that you're more likely to commit and stick through. And then when you do that, you'll actually see results. And what that will do is give you the confidence that you're looking for. And I know this sounds super esoteric and heady and like all like, you know, not a pattern, right? That's what people really want, is a pattern. It's not that. However, if you start with detaching your self-worth from your ability to play the instrument, I hope you can see now they will all align in a way that allows you to reach the goal that you want. You'll be a better drummer. You'll play with more confidence. You'll have more of a unique sound because you won't be afraid to take risks and express yourself. And you also won't be worried about what other people think, because you'll be able to take criticism from others as well. And you'll even be able to hear people give you criticisms and critiques, but it won't penetrate the wall of your self-worth. It'll just be your playing. And you'll be able to see it and say, was what they're saying true? Is it objective or is it not objective? And you'll be able to decide to take that in, but it won't affect your self-worth. Not a lot of people talk about this on social media or on YouTube, but we work with hundreds of drummers, and it's not like some cookie cutter course or some cookie cutter program where they just get a bunch of YouTube style videos to watch and they're left alone to figure out what to do with it. No, we actually coach these drummers. We're on Zoom with these drummers, and we actually talk to them face to face and deal with the real life issues of what it takes to go through the process of transformation. You see, YouTube here is where you get a ton of information for free, but most drummers don't get any transformation. And when you actually work with a drummer through the transformation, where you don't just give them the path to take, but walk the path with them like we do, then you see all of these things and you're able to help them to overcome them, and then they become the drummer that they want. And that's the difference. And so I hope that you found this helpful. I hope that you found this valuable. And I hope at the end of the day that you can at least begin to try to separate your self-worth from where your skill level is on the drum, so that you can actually see where you are, commit to improving, and then doing the work, having patience with yourself as you go through it, which will lead to you achieving better results and you having more confidence ultimately. That's it. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.